folks, welcome back to our next episode of Table Talk. Matt, how are we doing today?
We're doing great. We're out here just a little bit north of Eldridge. We decided we'd take you back out to the cornfield here. It's been a while since we've been back. We've got some pretty good looking corn out here around that V6, V8. It's fairly decent, but we got some odd things out here. And we got a big list of questions here.
That's right. And I think, judging by my expertise, I can't answer any of them. So
No,
we're going to go ahead and bring someone else in, right?
Hopefully somebody that has the better answers than what you do. So yeah, we're gonna see if we can yell, Nicole!
Nicole Stecklein with DEKALB Asgrow is out in the field somewhere.
Hey guys, how's it going? I made it.
I see her now. Okay. So Nicole, you ready for all these big questions we got here for you?
Shoot.
Okay, perfect. All right. So we've got Rick from DeWitt.
Oh,
Rick from DeWitt asks, he asks, hey, I got some weird colors that are random in my corn plants throughout the field. What would that be?
So you mean like this?
I would think so.
I think so. I think that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, so we're just starting to see what's called rapid growth syndrome. And it's exactly what it sounds like, where this corn plant is growing so rapidly because of our very high GDU accumulation rate over the last couple of days with those high temperatures. Basically, it's shooting leaves out before they're fully developed and before the chlorophyll has turned that nice green color. So we're going to see plants randomly showing off this color here. And then really, we've got some rain clouds showing up in the field where I'm at over by Cascade. As soon as this stuff gets some water too, we're going to be seeing a lot more of this random yellowish plants showing up. Now, I know that with a lot of the temperatures that we had when we made a lot of our herbicide applications, it was pretty hot. So we did see some flashing because of some of that, and just some response to some of the herbicides. This is different than the herbicide flash. Most of that is done with. We're going to get some rain. This stuff's really going to take off. So we're going to see more of this going forward.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot for that information. You know, it's actually, it looks like we might actually get some rain here before we're done even. So that's good to hear. Well, I'll take the next one.
Go ahead.
This one's from Chris in Geneseo. Chris writes in, do I have enough nitrogen?
Well,
how do we know that?
That's a really loaded question, guys. It just depends on so many factors. What was your main source of nitrogen? What soil types do you have? What's your yield goal? What's your plan going forward? What's the weather been doing? We have had a lot of ugly duckling corn lately. A lot of that's just because of the poor root growth that we've had because of the cool soils and the cool temperatures really up until this last week. So it's kind of a little this or that. We've got a lot of different factors to take into place. Our poor corn starting to come out of it. But up until that point, it ends up looking like nitrogen deficiency because we get a lot of yellowing out in the fields until really the roots can get going that can get to the nitrogen. So a lot of it actually depends more on positional availability instead of being gone or leached and needing us to make any sorts of changes in our nitrogen program. But there's a lot of different factors that are going to influence that decision.
Awesome. And Matt, you and I are kind of going to talk about that in our next episode too, a little bit on our field forecasting tool and the things we're doing out there with tissue testing and soil sampling and our modeling there too, to just see what we have out there, right? So
Yep. I think that, like Nicole said, a lot of things in there, and we try to take a lot of that into the tool, but there's some things that we assume as well. So that is a loaded question. So hopefully we got kind of a good answer for you there, Chris. So third question that we have in here from Ross from Sunbury. Ross. He says, I got holes in my leaves, and it wasn't me doing target practice.
Are you sure, Ross?
Yeah. So, Cole, what's the reason for that?
Obviously, there could be some. I got 4 boys, so Lord knows that we got BB holes in all sorts of our corn, which, it's like, okay, so do I have BB holes or do I have insect feeding? So if you're talking about holes like this, it's quite possibly corn borer damage. So the moths fly up, they lay their eggs, And then when they hatch, they're just going to bore through those leaves when they're wrapped up, which is going to give us kind of that shot hole appearance in those leaves. Now, they're going to be going through multiple generations here. So as this corn gets about head high, usually is when you can start walking through the field again and actually find the egg masses on the undersides of these corn leaves. But for right now, corn borer damage, most of these plants out here have a trait to take care of that damage, but they still have to take a bite to die. But having the traits out there is what changes this issue from being just some holes in the leaves sometimes to being an absolute disaster later on in the season.
Awesome. Well, thank you, and thank you, Ross, for sending your question in. So the next one we got is Jason from Galva is asking, will I start seeing spots? Well, how long are you going to stare at the sun? That's my question.
I don't know. I think he's talking about tar spot.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That makes a little more sense agronomically. I thought we were getting, a prank caller in there, but
yeah, no. So tar spot. What do you think about that, Nicole?
How much more time you got?
Oh,
You get me started on tar spot. There's no telling when I'm going to end. So, a little bit of history. We first saw tar spot in Jones County in Iowa in 2016. 2017, like it was there, but not like a huge deal. 2018, like it caused some issues. 2019, it showed up, but then we got really hot and dry, that first week or so of August, and it kind of stopped it in its tracks, and then it wasn't really able to blow up and cause us many issues. Now, unlike diseases like gray leaf spot, which they're going to wait until we get to tassel time, tar spot is able to infect these plants before we get to tassel timing. So I have had my eyes out for it lately, haven't seen any yet, but we just had that tropical depression come through, and it was cool and it was wet. You know what tar spot likes? Cool and wet. Now, obviously, we've dried up, we've warmed up. They actually brought the temperatures down this next 10 days or so. So we will have conditions that would be conducive for tar spot. We're just going to have to see what the weather brings us. Now, as far as control goes, we know we've got the inoculum out here. So it's going to be a matter of what control measures do we need to take, how much risk are we at for the disease and for yield loss, and what times are going to be most effective, and which product should we be using.
She's done.
Yeah. No.
Well, I have a question. When all the gnats die? Because that's what we're all concerned about out here.
Yes.
Sorry, Matt, go ahead.
So our last question we got here, I think we got a couple of minutes. We're going to try to get this one answered here, but Aaron in Eldridge, he asked in, we're going to shift gears, going to go to a different crop, it looks like. It says, I have little soybean plants. What's some of the cause or reason for that, Nicole?
It seems like the last couple of years, the beans just don't grow. It takes forever for canopy to happen. And I really think that this is because of a couple of reasons. A, we've been going to a lot more wide row beans. There's a lot less drills out there. So if it feels like it's taking longer to get to canopy, it's because it is. Those beans are further apart from each other. A couple of other factors. I think we expect these beans to get big early, and we've always been talking about how soybeans are, determinate, indeterminate. The fact of the matter is that they grow a lot more after they start putting flowers on. That growth is going to continue. The other thing that I think is really critical as to why we've been seeing that trend of smaller beans for longer taking place is think about what other trends we've been having. We've been soybeans a lot earlier. A grand majority of our soybeans are going out there with the Olivo seed treatment on it. And then we have been, or at least we should be, putting on really robust pre-herbicides. All these things, we got cooler temperatures because they're being planted earlier. So we got cool temperatures, and it has to metabolize that Olivo seed treatment, and it's got to metabolize that herbicide. It's cooler, it takes longer. They just aren't growing as fast because they've got some hurdles to clear. So it's taking longer, but really all those things that we're doing that's making them take longer to get bigger is overall good for the crop. So while it feels like it's a bad thing, overall I think it's good.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, I think that's all the questions we have in right now.
Yep.
As always, thank you for tuning in to the most anticipated Twitter videos right now and RVC Table Talk. We want to thank our special guest, Nicole Stecklein from DEKALB Asgrow. And, anything to add, Matt?
No, tune in. We'll come back. Like Travis said, we'll try to give you a little more of a recap and snapshot of what we're seeing with the field forecasting tools. So highly anticipated. We'll hopefully be able to deliver a lot of information for you then.
That's right. Until next time,
Keep your boots on the ground.